Bustos.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Secretary DeVos, for joining us today. What I'd like to talk about is the borrower defense rule, if we could, please. After losing your latest court battle to implement the borrower's defense rule, your department issued guidance that no school could force a student into mandatory arbitration over a dispute involving federal student loans. I think that's good. Yet your guidance stresses that schools could continue to use mandatory arbitration as long as the dispute did not involve a federal student loan. Is that correct? I think that's correct. These enrollment contracts where schools hide these mandatory arbitration clauses in fine print, which is standard, students have to enter these contracts in order to attend school. They don't have a choice. So I'm wondering, Madam Secretary, why you would continue to encourage schools to take away students' rights as a condition of going to school.
Well, Congresswoman, let me just speak broadly on the question and the issue. We did not agree with the Obama administration's approach to this. I'm certainly very aware of the court decision, and we are in the process of implementing that, while at the same time we're continuing to work on revising the rules so that it is one that we think is more fair to both students and taxpayers ultimately. Our partial relief formula is meant to be respectful of taxpayers. There is no student that should be able to make a claim for borrower defense if they have not truly been defrauded or if they are gainfully employed. And so we're going to continue to work on this rule and implement as per the judge's orders.
So I'm wondering if you can talk about what efforts your department is taking to ensure that schools not including arbitration clauses related to the student loans as part of their enrollment. If you can, is your staff monitoring compliance?
We are following the judge's decision and implementing, and at the same time continuing to work on revising the rule. So that process continues to be ongoing.
Okay, and so I'm going to drill down just a little bit farther. Have you asked accreditors to ensure that schools are in compliance?
We are following the 2016 rule and at the same time continuing to work on revising the rule.
Okay. So you're rewriting the rules, correct?
We are.
Okay. So will your rewrite include the existing ban of forced arbitration for federal student loan disputes?
That's all part of the consideration, and it would be premature to actually comment on the rule before it's actually released for comment.
What's your timeline on this?
It's very soon, within the next few months.
All right. Would you, I probably can predict your answer on this, but would you be able to commit to act in the best interest of students and uphold the ban on forced arbitration?
Well, I commit to acting in the best interest of students. I do that every day in my job, and we'll continue to commit to working on this rule so that it is one that we can be very supportive of and that is equally fair to students and to taxpayers.
Okay. Since I got a minute left, I'm going to address teacher shortage. So I'm from the state of Illinois, and we've got a severe teacher shortage issue. About 1,000 positions that can't be filled. Number one, it's in Chicago, which is outside my congressional district, but the other two are in the cities of Peoria and Rockford, which are in my congressional district. So this is an issue. I've done roundtables on this and have learned from teachers that they feel undervalued, they feel underpaid, they feel overworked. Your budget cuts a critical Department of Education program that school districts can use to improve teacher recruitment and retention. And I know that you've stated that you consider teacher hiring a local issue. But you've also stated that you wanted to help facilitate the sharing of best practices to bring more teachers into schools. And I'm wondering if you can elaborate on some of the best practices and share your next steps to help the states and districts with teacher shortages. I'll just leave it at that since we just have a few seconds left here.
Thanks, Congresswoman. I've met with and talked with many teachers and know that way too many of them do feel undervalued and underappreciated. That's why our budget has proposed to really give teachers an opportunity to develop themselves in a way that works for them through a teacher voucher that they can use for their own professional development. One of the things I've heard consistently is that they have been basically told what development to take, when and where, whether it's relevant to their particular subject area or their particular development need. And so we think that this is a really good way to begin to get at that and to show the kind of honor and respect that they should have and to elevate their profession. We also think that through the investment in mentorship and residency opportunities, that teachers will, really great teachers will find a way to continue to develop their own career path and not have to leave the classroom, as too many of them have to do today in order to continue to develop their own career path. They go into administration, and then they're no longer in the classroom. And it doesn't need to be an either or like that. It can be a both and. They can continue to be in the classroom and develop a career path if they have the opportunity to teach as teachers, to teach the teachers. And the mentorship and residency program will allow that kind of opportunity to develop well.